Our first presenter isn't just repping a great project, they're defending some home turf. That's right, give it up for our hosts, the proud hometown team from the City of Victoria, here to tell us all about their EDRMS journey, one step at a time. Please welcome to the stage Max and Jessica.
Good morning. Yeah, good morning. I'm Max. I'm a cloud solution specialist at the City of Victoria, and this is Jessica, our records coordinator. And today we're excited to share with you our EDRMS journey, a digital transformation, one step at a time. That was the title of our presentation until we saw our peers' submissions and realized maybe our presentation could have been a bit more fun. Could have used a bit more levity, maybe a little less municipal. So we're just going to slightly pivot to the Extreme Makeover Records Management Edition. So our presentation today is structured in two parts. First, I'll walk through our Enterprise Content Management Project, or ECM, and how it serves as the foundation for this extreme makeover. Outlining the strategic approach and key milestones that brought us to where we are today. And then Jessica will share our progress with the City File Plan project and give you a preview of what our EDRMS implementation will look like. So if you think about records management as a house, where we began our journey, ours looked a lot like our grandparents' living room, maybe a bit dated and chaotic. We had no retention schedules for electronic files, like we had that for paper records. We had decades of files sitting on shared network drives with different departments, often unknowingly keeping duplicate copies of the same document. Finding information was difficult. People relied on which folder or subfolder something was located in. Staff were basically just comfortable with legacy workflows. Saving files on network drives, emailing around attachments of files, and just wary of new tools like Teams, SharePoint, and OneDrive. So with no digital lifecycle management or effective governance in place, all these factors combined to create a floor plan of cluttered rooms with arguably no doors connecting them. Clearly, we're in the need of a new modern home for our records. So, as part of the City of Victoria's larger modern workplace initiative, our journey towards an EDRMS has consisted of a series of calculated projects over the last several years. So, we began with a number of pilots. So, we trialed SharePoint Online via lift and shifts, and we adopted Teams. We started with a big project was migrating our personal iDrives or H drives to OneDrive. We also worked on designing a standard SharePoint site architecture. We explored information governance approaches and available analytics, and we started testing around Purview and its EDRMS functionality. With these lessons learned in hand, we started migrating the organization's data from the old network drives to our new SharePoint site structure as part of the ECM project, and I will touch on this a bit more. Having all of our content centrally located led us to our next big project of defining a city file plan, and one step closer to our final goal of implementing a trusted records management solution at the city. So, as mentioned, our EDRMS project was split in two parts. The first part is ECM, and that system was designed to centralize, manage, and store an organization's content for improved collaboration, knowledge sharing, and retrieval and searchability. In our case, that system is SharePoint Online. Maybe I'm just preaching to the choir with these talking points here, but benefits of moving to SharePoint Online is one single source of truth. We've reduced duplicate and redundant content through SharePoint's version control. We've improved the searchability and discoverability. We've helped kind of break down some siloed file filter culture, improve security and reduce risk to the organization. and enhanced governance, capacity leveraging rich data analytics. But most importantly, ECM better prepares us to implement sound records management practices. So our approach with the ECM project was to break down the effort into 17 business unit-based, repeatable, and agile projects, and we followed a templated engagement plan. So 1 to 2 months prior to each business unit project kickoff, these communications went out to the teams, which included content management best practices, a defined content cleanup plan, and we had mandatory self-directed training for both Teams and SharePoint Online. And we know that staff often struggle to prioritize learning on top of daily duties. So we opted to gamify training by dashboarding department-based completion ranks. And we found this competitive approach actually led to a few groups getting to 100% completion rates. So 4 major phases followed this project. Phase 1, project kickoff and planning. Phase 2, design. Phase 3, implementation. And phase 4, UAT and support. A few tools that we used for the different phases of this project. We used tree size for reporting on network drive and SharePoint content, which greatly assisted with the content cleanup. ShareGate was our migration tool of choice. It helped preserve important metadata and permissions. We used a tool called Replace Magic for mass rewriting of hyperlinks within Office and PDF files, which greatly helped reduce the amount of broken links following the migration. And finally, our training platform was Brainstorm, which consists of bite-sized training sessions and some curated content that was created by our IT training specialists. So, continue with the house metaphor. We simply unloaded the boxes into our new home, knowing we'd unpack and organize them properly later. We standardized our SharePoint Online environment using departmental hub sites with divisional team sites for each division within a department. And every site consisted of an intuitive library structure. We had our workspace for active collaboration and day-to-day file work, our vault for finalized records and archive materials, and our legacy were for created during the migration. It was for files that were we were uncertain about deleting during the migration cleanup. So rather than attempting to rethink departmental data structure up front, we deliberately moved existing folder structures directly into the vault. And this approach allowed us to focus on platform adoption first, while creating opportunities for proper restructuring later. So yeah, this phased approach proved critical to our success. Users could immediately start working in the new environment without having to learn both a new platform and new data structures simultaneously. Because we knew that, we also knew that without proper data governance from day one, we'd quickly find ourselves back in Grandma and Grandpa's house. So we did implement some comprehensive governance policies immediately. We defined clear ownership, responsibilities, and we standardized the processes for site creation and content management. All right, so the ECM project represents both a technical success and a change management win. We had 17 migration projects completed over 32 months, which involved 4,681 staff hours. We migrated probably over 3.5 million files, and not even including that is 2 terabytes of outdated content that we cleaned up before the migration. Initially, we had quite a lot of SharePoint sites at about 667, and we whittled that down to 279. And overall, staff training numbers were quite good. We achieved over 70% organization-wide. Yeah, so this new home of ours has made possible a number of exciting digital transformation initiatives at the city. Our clean and consolidated secure data has allowed us to unlock AI-powered insights through M365 Copilot and Microsoft Graph for enhanced productivity. And also this modern foundation enabled in-house development of City Hub, which is our SharePoint-based intranet site. And we're also governance ready. So using M365 Usage Analytics and ShareGate Protect, we're providing visibility and control over SharePoint sites and teams. But most importantly, Having everything standardized and within the Microsoft Cloud and normalized for all our staff means we're well positioned for the next step in our EDRMS journey. So with that, I'll pass it to Jessica, who will now share how we built upon this ECM foundation with our City File Plan project and showcase our EDRMS implementation plan.
Thank you, Max. So now we have this fantastic foundation and all of our boxes are moved into our new home. We need to identify the different rooms in the house and what sort of stuff can go into each room. And for us, this step translates to the file plan. And quite simply, a file plan groups content of similar type together and includes rules for keeping or disposing of that content. And taking the time to make your file plan EDRMS ready, or in our case, creating one from scratch, is an essential step before any EDRMS project. Record categories become metadata in an EDRMS, and then that metadata is what drives all of the records management controls. And because Victoria has never had a file plan, this has given us the flexibility to create something custom that works with current staff work processes, and it's also designed with the EDRMS in mind. Like for instance, our draft currently has 140 record categories, which is significantly less than other municipal file plans we've seen. And by reducing the number of classifications or categories, we also reduce the number of retention labels we'll ultimately have to configure and manage in Purview. And like many of you, we are planning to transform our SharePoint environment into a governed EDRMS using Microsoft Purview. Purview being a collection of information governance, risk, and compliance solutions. And at this time, we aren't planning to layer a third-party tool on top of SharePoint, and we're doing this for several reasons. Thanks to ECM, staff are already using SharePoint Online, and we want to build upon that foundation and manage records in place. And we've also already invested in the necessary E5 licensing that you need to access the full suite of records management tools in Purview. And we want to make the most of what we have before considering additional options. But what especially excites me about Purview are the opportunities to automate or default records management so staff don't have to file their records in the traditional sense. And while we are confident in using SharePoint and Purview as our EDRMS, we also need to go in with eyes wide open about some of the challenges. Two that have stuck out to us are the disposition review process and the preservation hold library. The disposition review process, or what you do with the record at the end of its life cycle, is just not quite there yet in Purview, so we're anticipating having to build a custom solution outside of Purview with the hope that one day we can retire that and move everything back into Microsoft. And the preservation hold library, it's just kind of a special type of document library that gets automatically created on sites when you have retention labels or policies configured in a certain way. And when on these types of sites, labeled files instantly get when they are deleted or even modified before the end of a life cycle. A copy is instantly saved in this hidden location, and these files then become very difficult also to delete from the preservation hold library. So as you can imagine, it can very quickly increase your storage costs. So we're going to be very thoughtful when configuring our retention labels so that this library is only active on sites where we want it to be. And this brings us to our final phase, unpacking all of our boxes and putting everything away in place. And this phase is perhaps equally, if not more challenging from a change management perspective than our ECM project. But as with ECM, our guiding principle is still keep it simple. Obviously, including records management is essential for any EDRMS journey, but in Victoria, our approach was to bring archives and records under the IT umbrella. So now Max and I are immediate co-workers, and with the rest of IT, we share priorities and resources, which only strengthens our project from the inside out. And we also made the intentional decision to spend an entire year just learning from industry experts and our peers, and this was paired with extensive testing. And of course, we will continue with the iterative agile approach that we adopted with ECM. And our approach for implementing EDRMS functionality into SharePoint is multifaceted, but at its most basic, we will be controlling retention at the library level. To do this, we'll be creating a lot of new document libraries with a defaulted or auto-applied Purview retention label. And with this one-to-one relationship, retention and disposition rules are baked into the information architecture. And with the retention set at the library level, staff can continue organizing the content in the way that they work and not have to think about filing their records. And yeah, and to support this transition, we will of course be once again coordinating a lot of the cleanup and migration and taking what opportunities we can to improve user experience. Now for all of our key takeaways. I think the main thing that we want to stress today is that we didn't flip a switch. Sadly, there is no magic switch. We have instead spent years building our ECM foundation, are now creating our file plan, and are moving towards EDRMS implementations. And we know that this purposeful and step-by-step approach greatly increases our chance of success and user adoption. And yeah, leveraging what you have first while also being intelligent about navigating any known limitations in that product. And of course, just always keeping it as simple as possible. And finally, records management is so key, like I said before, and partnering IT and records management has been a real strength for us. After all, both of our professions share the issue of information bloat, and it's only common sense for us to collaborate on solutions. And while we may not win every vote today, I think we can all agree that we're well on our way into settling into our new dream home. We just have a few thousand more boxes to unpack. Thank you.